Your mechanic just quit and they're never coming back. Dealerships across America are desperate for techs. Some are offering as high as $75 an hour, and still hardly anyone is applying. The demand for automotive technicians is projected to rise by over 470,000 between now and 2028. And it's why your $500 oil change is about to become a $1,000 oil change. In the next 20 minutes, I'm showing you why an entire generation of mechanics is walking away from the industry, why master technicians with 20 plus years of experience are choosing work from home desk jobs instead, and why shops that charge you $200 an hour are only paying techs $20. Because this isn't just about money, this is about a broken system that's about to collapse. Let me show you just how bad the crisis has become. Ford's CEO just revealed that Ford alone has 6,000 open technician positions right now. One manufacturer, 6,000 jobs they cannot fill. The National Automotive Dealers Association, NADA, estimates there are currently 56,000 unfilled technician positions at franchise dealerships across America. That's 56,000 empty bays, 56,000 cars that can't get fixed. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects 70,000 job openings for automotive technicians each year through 2032. And between 2024 and 2028, the demand for automotive service technicians is expected to rise by over 470,000. But here's the problem. The industry needs more than 100,000 new technicians joining the workforce every year just to keep up with the demand and replace retirees. According to TechForce Foundation's latest report, the demand for new technicians is outpacing supply by 5 to 1. For every 5 technician jobs that open up, only one person is trained and ready to fill it. This isn't a regional problem. This is nationwide, and it's getting worse every single month. But statistics don't tell you why. After my last video, current and former mechanics left comments. Real people, real stories. I left Ford dealer at $22 in 2009. Couldn't afford anything after tools, rent, and car payment. I never looked back. I feel embarrassed for working so hard for nothing. After 23 years professionally, I left the business in 2018 making $28 an hour and could barely get 30 to 40 hours of work per week. The best career decision I've ever made was leaving the retail automotive industry. I've been asked to come back over the years, but I won't accept anything less than $100 per hour. I was a Ford tech and nearly senior master and left in early 2024 after 7.5 years. Was making $26 an hour hourly, left there and found a work from home job and make about the same doing way less. I finally left after 10 years while making $19 an hour, working my butt off, and had to pay for every single one of my tools. And you know what the service writers were making? $100,000 a year. Notice the pattern? These aren't lazy workers. These are certified technicians, master techs, people with decades of experience, and they're all saying the same thing. Leaving was the best decision they've ever made. A 2025 survey of technicians found that 78% agree that higher pay is the most urgent issue that needs to be addressed to help fix the technician shortage. Not better tools, not better training, higher pay. And when shop owners were surveyed about the causes of technician shortage, they identified 3 primary reasons: competition from other industries, negative perceptions of the profession, and low compensation. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the money, because what I'm about to show you is going to make you angry. When you bring your car in for service, you get charged a shop rate. At most dealerships in 2025, that's between $150 to $200 per hour. Some luxury dealers charge over $250 per hour. So when you see that $800 brake job on your invoice, you might think the mechanic is making good money. But here's what's actually happening. That mechanic who just spent 4 hours fixing your brakes, they're not getting $200 per hour. They're not even getting half of that. According to PayScale's 2025 data, the average hourly pay for an automotive service technician is $21.26. The Bureau of Labor Statistics puts the median annual salary at $49,670 for 2024. That's about $24 per hour. ZipRecruiter's 2025 data shows automotive technicians earning an average of $27.79 per hour. But that's the average. For entry-level techs, they're making between $14 and $19 per hour. And those numbers match what mechanics in my comments describe. $19 per hour after 10 years, $20 per hour at corporate Goodyear, $22 per hour at Ford in 2009, $26 per hour as a nearly senior master Ford tech in 2024. Let's do the math. If a shop charges $200 per hour and pays the mechanic $25 per hour, where's the other $175 going? Now, one commenter who owns a shop explained their cost. They pay techs $20 per hour, but the all-in cost per tech is $140 per hour when you factor in health insurance, workers' compensation, faculty cost and rent, utilities, equipment and tool maintenance, management salaries, HR and billing departments, liability insurance. That $60 difference between $140 all-in cost and $200 shop rate is a shop's profit margin. And in theory, that sounds reasonable, but here's the problem. Mechanics don't care about your overhead. They care that they're watching customers get charged $800 for work that took them 4 hours of skilled labor, and they're taking home $100 before taxes. That same mechanic could stock shelves at Target or work at Costco for $18 to $20 per hour. No $50,000 in tools to buy, no grease under their fingernails, no ruined knees and backs, no wondering if they'll get 40 hours this week. And here's what makes the wage gap even more infuriating. Cars are getting exponentially more complex. That brake job that took 2 hours in 2010, now it takes 4 hours because you have to disconnect electronic parking brake systems, recalibrate multiple sensors, navigate manufacturer-specific software, deal with integrated ABS and traction control. Why should you need to go through the wheel well or remove the whole front end of the car just to change a light bulb? Batteries hidden under the windshield, blocked by 15 other things. It's beyond stupid. The job got harder. The education requirements got steeper. The tool costs skyrocketed. Many techs have $50,000 to $100,000 invested in tools they had to buy themselves. But the pay? According to Zippia, automotive technicians earned an average of $33,601 in 2014. In 2025, they earned $40,910. That's only a 15% increase over 11 years. Meanwhile, inflation has increased by 38% during that same period. In real terms, mechanics are actually making less money than they were a decade ago. One commenter said it perfectly. $20 per hour is like $10 in today's world. But the wage gap is only part of the story, because the way mechanics actually get paid, that's even more broken. Most people have no idea how mechanics actually get paid. And once you understand this system, you'll realize why so many are quitting. It's called flat rate. And here's how it works. Every repair job has a predetermined time attached to it, set by the manufacturer. Brake job, 2.5 hours. Transmission replacement, 8 hours. Oil change, 0.3 hours. If you're a flat rate mechanic making $25 per flat rate hour, and you finish that 2.5 hour brake job in 1.5 hours, you still get paid 2.5 hours. That's $62.50 for 90 minutes of work. That's the promise of flat rate. Get fast, get good, make more money, beat the book time, win the game. But here's the trap. What happens when that 2.5 hour brake job turns into a 4 hour nightmare because the bolts are rusted solid? The customer installed cheap aftermarket parts that don't fit. You discover additional damage during the repair. The parts warehouse sent the wrong part. The manufacturer's repair procedure is outdated. You still only get paid 2.5 hours. You just worked 4 hours for 2.5 hours of pay. That's $15.62 per hour for a skilled technician. And you can't bill the customer for extra time because the flat rate time is the flat rate time. A former GM world-class certified technician explained, there's a sharp conflict of interest in who sets the flat rate. The manufacturer has a vested interest in keeping costs low, and anytime techs get better at their job, the manufacturer will reduce the time, effectively keeping techs poor. He then shared something shocking. In December 2023, a GM executive said, "How is it fair to us that we overpay a tech to do a job?" Read that again. Overpay a tech. The manufacturer sees mechanics winning at flat rate, doing the job faster because they got skilled, as the manufacturer is being ripped off. So what do? They reduce the flat rate times in the system. That transmission job that used to pay 8 hours, now it pays 6. Then 5, the mechanic gets faster and more efficient, but never gets ahead. As the GM tech said, the whole suck now so you can win later aspect of flat rate is a lie. But it gets worse. What happens when there's not enough work? This is the nightmare nobody talks about. One commenter with 23 years of experience described making $28 per hour flat rate, but only getting 30 to 40 hours of work per week. He'd show up for 40 hours, but only turn 20 to 25 billable hours. $28 per hour times 20 equals $560 per week before taxes. That's $29,000 per year for a master technician with over 2 decades of experience. And then there's warranty work, the bread and butter at dealerships, but the worst paying work for mechanics. A Ford tech explained all the graveyard work was given to the senior techs, and the rest of us were left with recall warranty work that doesn't pay squat. Warranty work typically pays 30 to 40% less than customer pay jobs. The manufacturer sets even lower flat rate times for warranty repairs, and the dealership has no choice but to accept it. Another Ford tech from 2009 described turning only 30 flat rate hours a week dealing with 6.0 liter diesel problems. That's 40 hours at the shop, getting paid for 30, doing warranty work that pays 30% less than regular jobs. Even if you're making $25 per flat rate hour, if you only average 30 billable hours per week, that's $750 per week, $39,000 per year, before taxes, before you pay for your tools. And speaking of tools, here's something most people don't know. Mechanics have to buy their own tools. All of them. A professional mechanic's tool collection can cost anywhere from $50,000 to over $100,000. And that's not a one-time purchase. It's a continuous investment. One commenter said, "I finally left after almost 10 years while making $19 an hour, working my butt off, and had to pay for every single one of my tools. A snap-on tool, $5,000. A quality torque wrench, $400. A complete socket set, $3,000. Specialty tools for specific repairs, $200 to $500 each. And every week, the tool truck shows up at the dealership, selling tools on credit at high interest rates. Many mechanics are thousands of dollars in debt just for the tools they need to do their job. Imagine if doctors had to buy their own MRI machines, or if pilots had to purchase their own airplanes. That's essentially what we ask mechanics to do." One commenter left automotive and moved to industrial maintenance. His comment, "They buy my tools and I just fix things for 40 hours a week. Couldn't pay me enough to go back to automotive." And then there's the physical cost, the destroyed knees from kneeling on concrete, the ruined backs from awkward positions under dashboards, the chemical exposure, the burned hands, the crushed fingers. The commenter who left after 23 years and won't come back for less than $100 per hour explained why he left. He described the mental and physical toll and said, "It was the best thing I did for my mental health ever, and that includes getting out of the army." Let that sink in. Leaving automotive repair was better for his mental health than leaving the military. But it's not just the physical toll, it's how mechanics are treated. The same GM tech wrote, "Techs are treated with disdain. They are slovenly knuckle-dragging grease monkeys out to rob you blind." This is how the general public thinks of and treats techs, and it's even worse from dealership owners and managers. And here's the part that makes mechanics furious. The service writer, the person who just types your information into a computer and hands you an invoice, is often making more than the master technician actually doing the work. One commenter said, "And you know what the service writers were making? $100,000 a year. It's a joke." Another said, "The big one is the service writer that makes the same or more than the tech in most cases, which is unacceptable. Service writers earn salary plus commission on services sold. Many make $60,000 to $100,000 per year. Master technicians doing the actual work, $40,000 to $50,000 on flat rate if they're lucky." The comment that breaks it all down: too much overhead in dealerships, service writers, dispatcher, cashiers, warranty administrators, service manager, service director. The mechanics pay all these people's wages and the mechanics make the least. So if the problem is this obvious, why isn't anyone fixing it? Because there are 3 parties involved: the manufacturers, the dealerships, and the mechanics, and only one of them has no power. Manufacturers set the warranty flat rate times. Dealerships have to accept them or lose their franchise. Mechanics have to accept the pay or quit. Manufacturers have no incentive to raise flat rate times. Lower times mean lower warranty costs, which means higher profits. complaints. Dealerships could pay technicians more, but that cuts into their profit margin, and most dealerships are operating on thin margins already, especially now that EV sales are slow and traditional service revenue is their lifeline. One commenter wrote, "I work at an independent shop now and make way more than I ever made at Ford or Peterbilt. Independent shops can charge more competitive labor rates, don't deal with warranty flat rate times, and have lower overhead. Many pay their technicians significantly better than dealerships." Another commenter found the solution: gain a strong understanding of electrical principles and you can make yourself an asset. Learn how to clone and program used modules. You can make a ton of money working for yourself as a mobile diagnostic guy. Network with small car dealers, body shops, independent shops. A tech with all certifications commented, "I make $65 per hour, have all my certifications." But here's the problem. The shortage isn't at independent shops making $65 per hour. The shortage is at dealerships paying $20 to $30 per hour. And dealerships are where most new technicians start their careers, which means the entire training pipeline is broken. Young people aren't entering the field because they see the wages. The ones who do enter often quit within a few years when they realize the reality doesn't match the promise. The 2025 survey found that negative perceptions of the profession are one of the top 3 causes of the technician shortage. And those perceptions exist because they're true. So where does this go from here? There are 3 possible scenarios. Scenario 1, nothing changes. Dealerships keep trying to hire at current wages, but the shortage gets worse. Wait times for repairs stretch from days to weeks. Customers get frustrated, but nobody changes anything because nobody has to change anything yet. In this scenario, independent shops and mobile technicians thrive. Dealerships struggle, and repair costs for consumers skyrocket because the few remaining technicians can charge whatever they want. Scenario 2, automation and technology. The industry pivots hard toward diagnostic software, remote technicians, and eventually autonomous repair systems. Fewer technicians needed, but the ones who remain need to be highly specialized in software and electronics. EVs accelerate this because they have fewer moving parts. No oil changes, no transmission services, no exhaust systems. The traditional mechanic job shrinks to mainly tire replacements, brake jobs, and electronic diagnosis. Current technicians either retrain for this new reality or leave the industry entirely. The 54% of technicians who are unhappy about the EV shift, many of them will choose to leave. Scenario 3, the industry actually fixes the problem. This is the one nobody's betting on, but here's what it would take. Manufacturers raise flat rate times to realistic levels. Dealerships increase technician wages to $40 to $60 an hour minimum. The industry provides tool allowances or tool buying programs. Service writer compensation is restructured so they don't make more than master techs. Warranty work pays the same as customer pay work. Marketing campaigns improve public perception of the profession. Could dealerships afford this? Let's do the math. If you increase a tech's pay from $25 to $45 per hour, that's an additional $20 per hour. For a full-time tech working 2,000 hours per year, that's $40,000 more in annual labor cost. If you raise the shop rate from $200 to $220 per hour, a 10% increase, you generate an additional $40,000 per tech per year. The math works. Would customers pay it? Here's the thing, customers aren't already paying it. They're paying it in the form of longer wait times, rushed jobs, inexperienced techs, and repeat repairs. They're paying it in the form of dealerships closing service bays because they can't staff them. What customers aren't getting is the quality they're paying for. Because when you underpay skilled labor leaves, and you're left with whoever's desperate enough to accept the wages. But realistically, scenario 3 isn't happening. Not voluntarily, anyway. The mechanic exodus is real. It's happening right now, and it's accelerating. The mechanics in my comments aren't coming back. They found better jobs, less physical damage, more respect, comparable or better pay, and most importantly, they found their self-worth. Ford has 6,000 open positions. They'll likely still have 6,000 open positions next year, because even offering as high as $75 per hour doesn't matter if the working conditions, the flat rate system, and the treatment hasn't changed. And the next generation, they're watching. They see the comments. They see the reality. They see their options, and they're choosing literally anything else. Why spend $20,000 on trade school to make $40,000 a year destroying your body when you can spend $0 learning to code online? and make $60,000 working from home. The math just doesn't math anymore. So the next time you take your car in for service and wait 3 weeks for an appointment, or the next time your repair cost seems insanely high, or the next time a dealership closes its service department entirely, remember, this was completely preventable. The mechanics tried to tell us. They told us for years and we didn't listen. Now they're gone and they're not coming back. If you're a current mechanic watching this, drop a comment below and tell us your story. If you left the industry, tell us why. If you're still in it, tell us what it would take for you to stay.